Before we get things started, let's roll the clip.
I'm a motherfucking star boy.
Nerd Soul. Lay ill kid at OneYoungsta, hold it down, bring that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people, today? Oh yeah, coming with another wonderful episode of Thumbnails. Today, we also have a movie review. We're gonna be talking about, you wanna introduce it? You wanna get all the way to the title already. We gotta warm him up on this. Okay, he wants to get to the title, but I wanna warm it up a little bit. You know, there's a show, but it's a couple of heroes. It's not a lot of heroes. A couple of heroes getting together. They have to fight against a common enemy. And in this case, the common enemy comes from the future. And we're talking about Justice League versus the Fatal Five. And since this movie is already out and it's on digital, you can own it at your house. This is going to be straight up spoilers, all spoilers. I'm going to be talking about the movie as if you've seen it. So stick around if you've seen it, or if you're like, I ain't going to watch that thing anyway. So let's get started with the art style. I love it. I love it. I love going back to the like JLU kind of inspired styles. It's just nostalgic, you know what I'm saying? The show ran for what, 5-6 seasons, something like that. And we all kind of, it's a large part of our lives, you know what I'm saying? And not only was it around for a while, but it was good. So seeing them go back to these just pulls something out of you and you really do enjoy it. Next up, I want to talk about Jessica Cruz, who is tough to describe because of the way they handle her. I think they handle her in a very generic way. It's something that you kind of like telegraphed through the whole way. Even if you haven't seen anything with Jessica Cruz in the comics, it's just, you know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, she has to, overcome this. And I'm not mad with her overcoming these issues. I just feel like it's very generic in the way they handled it. They could have got a little craftier, especially compared to the other kind of like DVD films or Blu-ray films or home release films that WB has done. I feel like they kind of rested on their laurels when it comes to Jessica Cruz in this movie. All right, now with her out of the way for a second, I do want to touch on the Fatal Five, which I think are dope as a villain, but we didn't spend enough time with them to really care about them. And I think that's where a fault of this movie comes. Though I like how it looks, though I like some of the fight scenes, even though I wish there were more, we don't really know enough about the Fatal Five to actually care about what the Fatal Five are doing or if the Fatal Five accomplish anything at all. It's almost the way Marvel handles a lot of their villains, where it's just like, hey, they're just something for the hero to accomplish, instead of us seeing the villains so we can see how scary they are and why they need to be stopped. They just end up being like this group that, the superheroes just gotta beat down. Now, before the break, another problem, now this is another problem that usually comes with a lot of WB products, is Batman. We said it at the same time, Jinx. But what I'm saying is, we know DC stands for Detective Comics, and Detective Comics was the name of the Batman comics. So we know Batman is the man, all right? But he's front and center on so much stuff. And here, it is a Justice League film, but he's kind of at the forefront, either spoken of or his presence is over it, where it's like, this is just another situation where we're putting Batman at the front, where we have a lot of other characters, especially with Jessica Cruz, see what I'm saying, and Mr. Terrific. So with that said, Batman in here, he is dope. And the way he handles and relates to, of course, Miss Martian is cool as well. I like their back and forth. I like how she presents a different situation and a different consequence than like one of the Robins would. But at the same time, I don't know if we are, but I'm Batmaned out. It would have been cool to see maybe either Kal-El in that role or Wonder Woman in that role, or even, Martian Manhunter, in that role. It would have been cool to see someone else in that role handling it instead of Batman once again, kind of like leading the story sort of. But All in all, I did like Miss Martian, and Mr. Terrific got down a couple times. Thank God, because what y'all see on TV for Mr. Terrific is not, I know, it's not really Mr. Terrific. But before the break, I just wanted to remark on all the stuff that I thought was cool with some contingencies that this movie really brought. Batman was on point. The fight scenes were on point. I love the art style, but Jessica Cruz, which we'll get to a little bit after the break, did have a couple issues. But first, before we move forward, talk about any of these fight scenes, any of that stuff with the extra star boyness, Cure Brand's gonna help us pay them bills. Oh yeah, check that link below. Hats, shirts, hoodies, all that jazz. And once you find something you like, of course, cop it. So we talked about Jessica Cruz, Batman being cool, art style, all that. I want to dive deeper into Jessica Cruz because we did get some of her psyche about not wanting to get out of the house. Also with her connection with Starboy. And Starboy, as we know, he's in the future. He's one of the heroes. Fatal 5 jumped back. He jumps back with him, trying to stop him. But Starboy presents a problem for me in the story because they never write him in a way where he's more than just a guy out of time. You don't really care too much more about who he is, what he does, his power set, anything. He's just a guy that's here to tell us the Fatal 5 are coming. And maybe if we spent some more time with him in Arkham, or maybe if we spent some more time of him and Jessica Cruz, because that did seem like it was budding as far as a relationship, just as far as talking your problems and your emotions out, but it just never seems to get there. Now with that said, we do touch a little bit on that psyche for a moment with Starboy's memory, where it walks through the newer Hall of Justice. I can't remember if they named it or not, but we do get a small amount of that psyche, a small amount of the heroes fighting together, a small amount of how they related to each other, but it wasn't enough for us to care about the future that we're trying to save. And it didn't seem like enough to care about the past that he was coming to prevent, from falling into this problem. It just seemed like a scene that we kind of had to get out the way. And it kind of hurts a little bit because I know that this could have been so much more, because it's your basic story of coming back to warn people about a future, but it just seems to fall into kind of okay territory. Now, one thing that is not okay, it is definitely on point, are the fight scenes. But that's something that we've always come to expect from these DC films, is that the fight scenes are going to be on point. Whether they were on Oa, that was a great one. In the future, or the memory of the future, that was a good one. When they fought it out kind of like in the woods or whatever, away from the city, that was a good one. Like, all of these fight scenes are choreographed very well. I just feel like we haven't done the emotional homework, at the front end to actually care about what's going on in this specific story. But Oa comes with it, man. Like, that's probably my favorite fight scene of the whole thing, because we got Kilowog, we got just seeing the Justice League from a mindset of Oa and how they come into play just changes things drastically. Now, with all that said, I'm sure you guys saw the score and you were like, I don't get it. Why, you talked about good stuff and bad stuff, but it seems like it should be higher. The reason I've loved the art style, the reason I love the fight scenes, but the emotional homework or the writing homework at the beginning that I think we needed didn't really hit the mark, leaves me at 2.5 stars, which means it isn't bad or good. It just ends up being a middle of the road kind of okay. And the reason why is because this doesn't rise to the quality as far as the story and the writing and the emotion of some of the better kind of like home releases. This would have been dope if it was like an arc of Justice League, like back in the day, or even if they had a show now. Like, if this was an arc, this would have been real cool. But as a film, it just doesn't hit it. It doesn't break that mold of being above and beyond a kind of like daily or weekly series. So guys, holla at me. I'm gonna holla at you. Down in them comments, let's talk about Justice League Fatal 5. Are you feeling it? Are you crazy about it? Is it a 5 for you? Is it a 1 for you? Is it like a 3.5 for you? Let me know if I'm tripping or not, even though I'm like, yo man, I ain't tripping. So before you bounce, don't let me forget to tell you to hit up ThatNERDSoul.com. That's right, check me out right there. All my videos from the oldest, newest, latest, greatest, and all that. Then hit up shop.ThatNERDSoul.com and pick yourself up a t-shirt player. Don't forget to get one for them playettes. Then come back here, like, comment, subscribe, and share that Nerd Soul. That's right, there's no better way that I can show people that you like what you are watching. So, LA, what up? VA, what up? RVA, you got my heart. And please be good to yourselves. Please be good to each other. And remember, keep your blades sharp. Peace.